Okay, I think we're gonna start. It's 11 a.m. Looks like today's a little slow, but good morning, everyone. I'm Cherry Kubota. I'm the host of this Indoor Ag Science Cafe series. And then also I'm a professor at the Ohio State University. I'm also the director of Ohio Controlled Environment Agriculture Center. So the CEA is the focus of this series of webinars. If you have been around with us years, thank you so much for participating. Initially started as outreach effort of the project group called OptimIA, focusing on indoor vertical farms, and then now expanded to entire CEA, including greenhouse and even more simple structures also, and co-organized by ADVANCEA Group, which is another USDA funded project, and then CEA HERB Group, also another USDA funded project. So ever since I started working on probably vertical farm research and outreach, I got to learn Derek Smith, today's presenter's organization, um, and then that's the uh, kind of connection today. I decided to invite him. But anyway, so let me go over what we are doing upcoming. So today, Derek Smith is going to talk about what they do in the Resource Innovation Institute. But we are doing this webinar series monthly. And then next month, Marketing CEA Herbs. That's suggested by CEA Herb Group. And then May indoor cafe is food safety topic. Also herb group, coronary herb CEA herbs group um, organizing that. And then June, it's company, private company talking about what they do. It's a very unique operation. Um, so that's something you learn in June. And then we don't have any July cafe. Again, this opportunities for both academic researchers who are contributing to CEA industry, advancing CEA technologies, and then also those who are in front line, someone like Derek as a nonprofit organization standpoint, and then also private companies who are actually doing this. So this is the platform to exchange information and learning from each other. So today, so glad to have finally Derek speaking from Resource Innovation Institute. He's gonna introduce himself at beginning, I believe you do, and then introduce the whole institute. It's by far um, RII has so much information, so much data. And then I'm gonna repeatedly invite you, to inject a little bit of, what you have. Because I know just one webinar is not enough. So all right, so I'm gonna stop sharing um and have Derek share your screen to present.
Sounds good. Yes. Well, thank you, Dr. Kubota. You want me to take it from here?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, I first want to say thank you for everything you have brought to our organization, all the guidance over the years, and everything you bring to the community. We are all better because of you. So thank you for the opportunity to be here. Morning, everyone. It's my honor to be with you this morning. So I've been leading RII for about 8 years now. And before RII, my career has been in public, private, and nonprofit sectors, generally around the topic of sustainability, generally energy and climate related issues. And so I founded this organization to help provide this public-private coordination to really scaling resource efficiency in CEA. And that's what our role is to bring these partners together And we really think that that's the vision of how we actually make CEA happen at scale here in the US. We see the progress in Leamington and Westland, and we see that these these clusters of production have happened over decades, and we really don't have that kind of time. And we really need to figure out some solutions to scale much more quickly here in the US. A lot of great efforts going on in the public sector, in the private sector, and if we work together, we amplify the research, the great research, we help aggregate findings, aggregate data, just inform parties, and again, create venues for folks to be able to collaborate. That's what we're trying to do here. We are science driven. We collaborate with the academic community, in addition to governments, utilities, and industry leaders, and so that forms the RII network. So my intent is that this is a conversation. I think that's how these cafes usually go. So please feel free to interject at any point along the way. I'm going to share some background about RII, and I'll bring you to our current work with the U.S. Department of Energy. And we're bringing a lot of tools and resources to the market this year that should be really valuable to help the market take the next steps forward. But then I also want to end and really have the conversation be around where we're going in the future, which is our latest initiative called Farm Parks, which is our vision for really bringing these clusters of production in the U.S., but really, really quickly, not taking time over decades. But what are the mechanisms? What are the partnerships? What are the funding sources to actually make that happen? So I'll just let you read. This gives you a sense of who we are and what we're doing. We try to provide partnerships, tools, and resources that really help us move forward together and again, scale through that partnership. Our vision is really that, we're going to accelerate the outcomes that we know we'll get to, but we really want to move there much more quickly, figure out the solutions on resource efficiency, circularity at the food, energy, water nexus. And really, at the end of the day, what we do on a day-to-day basis, our mission is to advance community resilience. And we look at our work as integrating CEA into the future of farming. A lot of the work we do is with federal agencies as a key funding source, but then our direct work is with states and utilities. We think that's where a lot of the opportunity to connect some dots are to integrate CEA. As a nonprofit, we focus on three program areas. The first is market development, which is really where we help those states and governments connect to these resources and enhance resilience, efficiency, circularity, and really thinking about how we do this in a regional way. Education and training. I think many of you probably know Rob Eddy from our team, who's a phenomenal resource to the industry, incredibly knowledgeable on horticulture and all the systems that are connecting these unique production facilities. I think Rob has spoken to you before. He runs our technical advisory council of subject matter experts, which we bring together, and you'll see some of that work um, to bring best practices guidance to the market in a variety of different ways. And then data and research. This is something that Dr. Kubota mentioned at the top. Um, Ultimately, the goal for us is to have industry benchmarks on energy use, on water use, normalized by production, by crop, by technology, by climate zone. And that's a lot to pull together. It's going to require a lot of collaboration. But at the end of the day, that's where we need to go to really drive the resource efficiency, but also just the scale that we need in the sector here. So I hope that is a useful overview of who we are and what we do. So just historically, many of you first interacted with us when we started working with USDA several years ago. That was really a project about transforming the market and developing assets and strategies to figure out how to move forward with resource efficiency at scale. few highlights. We were able to produce a number of best practice guides. Water circularity to me is one of the most exciting. Very technical, detailed document with how-to guidance for a number of market actors, producers, design, construction, co-authored by Dr. Paul Fisher from Florida and Dr. Rosa Rodalis from Connecticut. Really appreciate their work and support and collaboration. We also produced the first energy and water benchmarking report for the industry. It enabled ranges of performance to be understood, again, on a kilowatt hour, kilo BTU um, per, so let's say, pound of product produced. Limited in number of crops, limited in number of facilities, but expansive in terms of the number of farms that actually were willing to trust us with their data so that we could aggregate it and inform the USDA and Congress at a particular moment in the history of the Farm Bill. So hopefully that's an ongoing legacy for the industry. And it really helps the utilities and others get a sense of what is the energy impact and where do we address efficiency and how do we support these producers. Um, we also developed a workforce development strategy, and that is transitioning into our work with the DOE, which I'll talk to you about now. So currently, we're in the final stretch of the CEA Market Accelerator. This is where we're bringing together all of these market actors to really go to market with tools and resources to make things tangible for folks so they can actually advance resource efficiency. So not just strategies, not just assets, but actually tools and resources. So a site feasibility tool is coming out to the market. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the moment. The goal there is to make it as easy as possible and in a data-driven manner to identify the best locations for CEA, and ultimately we all know that there's been a lot of challenges with siting farms being sited in difficult locations, ultimately not having the cost structure that they had planned on, and because of not knowing how to optimize for that location, right? So that's the importance of that tool, and it's coming to the market soon. The technology catalog is something that is the first, as far as I can tell, exhaustive description of all the technologies used in a CEA environment, from low tech to high tech, with guidance for states and utilities on how to think about incentive programs. Our goal is to get more incentives into the market, right? To help buy down the cost of efficient technology. Help states write good building codes, right? States help them write good energy codes, right? This is all very fundamental stuff for the expansion of the market. And ultimately, we'll have a virtual library of government resources, and we'll bring that workforce infrastructure to market. That'll be more next year. And I'll do my best to respond to things in the chat, but Carly or others, if there is a way to sort of interject and let me know what I should be responding to in real time, that would be helpful. It's hard to run the presentation and respond,
Derek,
but I
it's
appreciate
just
the
me putting
interest.
resources in for everyone that you're mentioning.
What's that? Elise?
It's
Oh,
just
you're
me
done.
putting resources in for you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Elise and Brenna from our team are here today. Thank you, Elise. Okay, so a little bit more about the site feasibility tool. This will be a free resource coming to the market, hopefully by the end of the second quarter here. It's got a tremendous amount of data from GIS layers that have been built into the tool. Berkeley Lab is our key partner in this effort, which is funded by the Department of Energy. And I'll give you a sense of how you can dig into the tool by these categories and click on, click off what you're looking for. And so you can go to basically a parcel level to explore these and receive data overlays at that level. The goal is to just inform better decision making, right? I'll let you view this so you can get a sense of zoning, etc. So ultimately, you'll see we go into distance to market, labor in the area, and then even co-location opportunities. So landfills, data centers. So we're really trying to lay the groundwork, literally, for how we can do better stuff on the ground, connect better with sites where farms are going to be built. Um, okay, excuse me. I'll stop the video for now. Um, Thanks, Elise. Just let me know if any other questions. So
I
you can
have a
see the,
quick
yeah, please go
question.
ahead.
Can I? So
Yeah, Dr. Shibata,
resource,
please.
I'm so impressed. So I love the site feasibility tool you just showed us. So that resource information is that what are you planning to put under resource? Utility. Sorry, you have a utility. I don't remember. Is that utility tab um in the menu? My
Oh,
question is, what would you plan to put in that utilities section?
I mean, availability of power, availability of water, availability of incentives. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, okay, but not
Mhm.
necessarily price or uh,
We have price where we can get it, but that's
mm,
not always available.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I thought it might be challenging, but anyway, good, good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so the challenge will be to keep this tool updated and in real time with all these sets of data. And obviously the federal funding environment is a little uncertain these days,
Hmm.
so we'll see. Um, but it'll be a great base layer for moving decision making forward for sure. So
Thank you.
this gives you a sense of all the types of users for this tool. Right now, we're learning more about each of these use cases and working with these market actors to make sure the tool comes out in a way that's relevant to their use. I think the economic development departments at state levels is for example, a really key user of this. Okay, the technology catalog. So this is something that I think you all will appreciate the sort of behind the scenes impact of a document like this. When the Department of Energy wants to look at an energy intensive industry, particularly one that's coming into the market and has promise going forward, they want to figure out everything about the technology use and where the savings can be had, and they want to have an official document that essentially lives in the bureaucracy but flows back down to the states and the utilities. And so you can imagine the power of that, particularly when we've got utilities that are essentially governed at the state level. To be able to piece this together so that we can have consistent utility programs across the country that all are driving really good levels of incentives, that's a lot of work. So having this technology catalog is the first step. Now we got to make sure that there's enough capacity to be able to flow this information out and try to standardize the programs that exist to support producers. So that will be what RII is working toward. This gives you a sense of the types of evaluation that by technology that is in this catalog. And this gives you a sense of both the visual and the narrative elements of it, as well as the spreadsheet elements of it. Now I'll just share quickly some projects that we're doing in various parts of the country. We definitely work at the regional scale, both on energy issues as well as state policy type programs. We have a number of communities, including parts of Ohio, that we are making a pilot community for the CEA Accelerator. We just visited Riverside, California, another location a couple weeks ago. That was very exciting. It's just really amazing to see what's going on, the different use cases for CEA in different communities, right? The different scales, the different community engagement models, the different funding models, the different needs that are being served. Um, this is a range of, just to give you a sense of the type of work we do with states and utilities. We're informing the California Energy Code, Title 24, which the last round didn't have much industry engagement, and we saw some challenges with the double glazing requirement. We were able to connect a producer, California Energy Commission, and an equipment manufacturer or a builder to help find solutions to some of those challenges. And that's the power of the work that we can do through our network. But we really need to make sure that the industry engages in important things like the development of energy codes for this industry. What California does tends to be what the other states follow. So if you get a request from us to engage in this upcoming code cycle, please do. We work with in states like Maryland to get more incentives through the utility to help that utility understand the market better and where they can provide more incentives and get more savings. We do support the cannabis market with some states that require reporting by their producers. We essentially provide the data platform to the state from the producer. And that's helpful because we have density of data in that crop because it's compliance reporting. And ideally we have a lot more voluntary reporting from a range of crops going forward. With key states like Pennsylvania and Virginia, we're exploring really interesting co-location opportunities, right? How can CEA be an interconnection point for circularity between traditional agriculture in terms of waste streams and other industrial sectors, for example, data centers? So what are the technical requirements? What are the policy challenges? What are maybe the code or regulatory challenges? Those are the types of things we're trying to explore and provide solutions for. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to jump in. Okay, so now I'll tell you quickly about our working group. So this is, again, as the part of our work that's run by Rob Eddy as part of our education and training program. We are coming out with an AI and advanced robotics best practices guide as a result of a working group on this topic, funded by the Department of Energy. This is all volunteer contributions by these companies. We really appreciate everybody coming together. And this document in particular is looking at these sets of questions, and we're trying to cut through the noise and really get to how do we make sure AI and robotics actually ends up 10 years from now really having a meaningful impact on resource efficiency. So look for that. And we appreciate Dr. Leo Marcellus from Wageningen co-authoring that with us. We also are coming out with energy management. This is co-authored with Berkeley Lab. Thank you to all the groups that have been involved in this, going through a tremendous amount of subject matter here. This was such a great group and such a popular set of topics, and obviously super critical to the advancement of CEA, that we're going to essentially break this out into a few more working groups that go deeper into some related subjects on the near-term horizon. I'll show you that in a minute. So this week, we're kicking off our high-tech knowledge transfer. This is where we're trying to have the US learn from more mature markets like the Netherlands and Canada and adapt for this market. So it's really, what did it take to bring these high-tech markets together, and what do we need to do here in the US to make it happen? Peeling that back a little bit even further is co-location. So we see AgReport A7. How can we do that at a meaningful scale here so that we don't have, ultimately Ohio and Michigan connecting through over decades and reverse engineering circularity? What if we could just build clusters right at the outset in a defined geographic area? That's where we're hoping ultimately to go by learning some of these key things. We're also addressing the low and mid-tech markets and helping them on a journey toward efficiency and getting into understanding financing and other support systems they may need and how to help them prioritize which technologies may make the most sense based on where they are. One key thing that we're doing is fire safety. We're really excited about this, and credit to Rob Eddy on this. We know that fire safety challenges and these regulatory issues and sprinkler requirements is a big thing that slows down a lot of construction. So our role here is really to to direct this education and training at that regulatory community to help them understand the market better so that we can grease the skids on the production. With Pennsylvania, we're looking at again these how to connect these traditional agricultural sectors to CEA and do more circularity. So if you have expertise in any of these areas, if you want to be part of a intellectual, fun working group for a few months and be part of bringing some best practices guidance to the market, please, by all means, reach out. We'd love to have you. All right, so here's where I'm hoping we can have a reasonable amount of dialogue. And I would invite folks to come off, uh, come onto the camera and join me here. This is where we are going. We believe that farm parks, and you'll see what the definition of that is the way we really make rapid scale up of high-tech production clusters here in the US happen. So what do we mean by this? And we'll get into that in a minute, but just a little bit of context. We're the last country to really do that. I think we all understand this. We have a lot to learn. So what can we learn and how do we get there quickly? This is about how, not why. This initiative attends to some of the political considerations right now. But the point is, how do we make it happen? We know why, in general, we're not quite there. We know where we are relative to other countries, but as far as we're concerned, we haven't seen the model, the way we make this happen, and that's what we're really out to explore and hopefully bring a solution to the market. So this is our working definition. This is meant to be a dialogue with the market, right? In our view, we need to be thinking about 1,000 acres or more. Obviously, good distance to markets, optimized for climate conditions, which requires a tremendous amount of geographic study. And then the ideal example of this is where do we get the land, right? If we can partner with the public sector that owns land, could be universities, could be prison systems, could be landfills, or as you'll see, we're in a conversation with military landholders, former army bases or army bases that are ready to convert part of them. These would be examples of large and in some cases very prime locations and pieces of land that we could unlock through partnership, bring private sector matching dollars, and really invest in a very meaningful solution that could happen more quickly. So we're studying also the grower-centric revenue stream models, like for example in AgriPort A7, where there's cooperative ownership of the cold storage, the packing, logistics, maintenance. And each of those provides an additional revenue stream to the grower and enables, that all of that revenue to overcome the CapEx. Ideally, the CapEx is also supported by the public sector, who wants the location of food production in their community, who wants the job creation, so they're willing to invest in, and they want the grid stability, so they're willing to invest in some of that infrastructure. Our role will be to make all of this happen, these connections. We also want to be looking at built-in offtake agreements, so that we're not just building farms and hoping the sale will occur, but we're actually coordinating that with the production of these clusters. And then we can also have ongoing research and training, obviously dedicated university partnerships and private research. And because we're in a defined area, we can really promote unique knowledge sharing opportunities and have workforce development that is focused again on a geographic area where you can tap into the public workforce systems that are available regionally versus it's hard to develop a talent pool if we've got individual farms spread out in various places, right? So I'm just curious as a first question to everybody, and again, please feel free to join in the dialogue. What do you think about this definition? Anything you see missing in or that should be improved in terms of size or crop diversity or whatever? Dr. Kubota, any?
Anyone want to ask question? Feel free. Microphone is fine. It's quick or typing in.
And Elise, you got the chat?
Yeah, there's no chat question
Okay.
either. Yeah.
Okay, great.
We
All
can
right,
come
well,
back. Yeah.
well, so again, Ag Report A7 would be a model for what we're looking for because it was designed as like a business park, addressing all of these root issues from the outset. A greenhouse didn't get built, and then another one somewhat nearby, and then another one somewhat nearby, and then there was reverse engineering as far as circularity. This was designed with waste heat exchanges, CO2 loops, etc., data center co-location. So we have a lot to learn from these types of models, and they are beginning to happen in other parts of the world as well. And this is what we think we need to be thinking about here in the US. And it's about the right scale too. So again, why has this not happened in the US? There's a lot of reasons for that. But one key reason is that there's not anybody bringing all these parties together and holding their hands at a place-based manner to make all of this happen, to unlock the land, to look for the funding mechanisms, to arrange the matching requirements from the private sector to unlock public investment, to coordinate the planning with the utilities, with the offtake. And so we think that that's a really critical piece that has been missing. And if you look at the other places in the world, they had some elements of this to make this happen. AgReport A7 did, for example. So we hope this is the world that will evolve here for CEA, and we think this is the way to make it happen. I'll just close the this initial part of the presentation with a potential public partner for this Farm Parks initiative, which is the U.S. military. So we've got conversations going on in a meaningful location in the Northeast that could result in the first farm park that is able to leverage a military mechanism that will essentially fund about half of the infrastructure, would host the production, uh, which would all be private production, but it's just a very coordinated place-based approach. And that is because the US military is interested in food, energy, water security, and figuring out how to get to 2.0 for food, energy, water nexus, right? We need some solutions there, and their view is that's a really critical piece of national security. So what we're interested in as we look to that potential model is what would be the research priorities if we were to have, these very large pieces of land open up for private production on military assets. These are the types of things that we think need to be studied, but this is just a beginning list. And I would invite discussion if anybody. So, for example, on labor, if what we really need is, and the military wants more nutrition for their fighters, as they call them, and we can pair that with offtake from the civilian sector, retail sector. So now we have a lot of production. We have multiple crop types. To really make that happen, obviously we need to think about the labor implications. And this is an example of we could leverage military investment in robotics and really accelerate to open up new categories of production like soft fruits that are very labor efficient. So that's the type of vision and scale that we're looking for, and these are the types of issues we hope to address. But I'm curious what the group thinks. You know,
And
very research-heavy crowd, so please feel free to weigh in.
yeah, I think that for most of us, it's a very unique concept, military multiplied by or times CEA collaboration, sort of integration.
Yeah.
Um, so, so the produce produced in the farm park, um, go to outside of the country, or it's gonna stay in a region in this type of operation.
The discussion is about um, military offtake, so you could say feeding the military personnel.
Hmm.
They want supply chain stability, right? So the idea is that that would be a key part of the offtake, and then there would be private sector offtake,
I
and
see.
however the private sector
I see.
plans that offtake, I suppose is how it happens.
And then you are thinking CEA only, not including outdoor production
I
capacity.
I think this may include some meat production.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah.
And the idea is to have, let's say dairy feeding biogas,
Mm-hmm.
heating the greenhouses in the winter. So a lot of greenhouse production, but not exclusively.
Mm-hmm.
Data center co-location, other agricultural sectors. And again, this is all very high tech, very circular, very at
Interesting.
scale, very quick.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Great.
It's the power of what we can do if we can bring the public and private and utility sectors together to actually plan for this type of um, development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, audience, if you are interested or if you want to ask questions, please feel free, typing or microphone.
Such a quiet audience.
I know. Everyone is polite.
I watched a few others. I saw some great interaction, so I
Yeah.
didn't
Um,
plan
Oh,
talking.
of course. Go ahead,
I had
Melanie.
I had a quick question. Yeah, yeah. I apologize.
Hey,
I got
Melanie.
here. Hey, how are you? It's great to see
Good.
you.
Great to see
Yeah,
you.
I got here a few minutes late, so that's why I was hesitant to ask you a question. But no, I love this topic. I think it's really important. One of the things that I worry about is the regional pride that we have in different states. And I think I think you're absolutely on the right track with military, because that cuts across that. But I think we've shot ourselves in the foot sometimes about, North Carolina is going to have the best this, or Ohio State's going to have the best that, and California is going to do this. And how do you think we have these parks, but we kind of cut across the state support, and funding that might come from, unifying multiple states?
Yeah, that's a great question. Hopefully with the federal overlay, um, I know that has been critical in our work with Berkeley Lab. We're thinking about this evolving and states taking the lead, but there obviously should be venues for learnings, venues for coordination. The site feasibility tool is, it shows the state lines, but it also is showing sort of regionally where are the CEA farms located? Where are the distribution centers located? And so we can begin to make decisions regionally. But yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of this is driven by state economic development departments, and they want to bring jobs and economic development to their community, and they are competitive with each other. So we want to leverage that interest, but also create the opportunities for regional um, coordination. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Ohio State can help regardless of the location. Just wanted
Great.
to wanted to make sure.
Okay, good to know. Anybody else?
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Oh. Hi, I have a question. Since you guys are nonprofit, but you still have to survive, so I just wondering if, let's say, I collaborate with you, what would be the model of moving this collaboration forward and ended up with, a successful project?
In North Dakota, perhaps?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, it was great to meet you in Vegas. Uh,
yeah.
um, I appreciate the question. It's difficult being a nonprofit, and we are intentionally a public-private partnership, and so we really do need the public and the private sector to engage. Usually, we write a scope of work with a partner. Let's say Virginia. They're interested in leading on CEA, and they have great strength already in data centers, and there is a potential for these two sectors to be co-located in a strategic way, a lot of technical issues to be figured out. So the first, part of that started with a conversation. Actually, I met Secretary Laura in Amsterdam at Green Tech, and we worked that into a series of conversations that led to a scope of work that then led to a contract. So it starts with the needs of the location, the entity, um, and the collaboration can be determined in a number of different ways, right? And we can also bring in other partners. For example, we could bring in the utility, we could bring in the data center world, and really look to create something that has multiple outcomes. That would be our objective. And we are in conversations with a number of states, number of utilities across the country. And I would just say that in addition to that, it's also important that the private sector steps up. A lot of this public investment requires private engagement, right? Or might have private matching dollars. And so we are the venue for that to take place.
Derek,
Yes.
so the idea of farm parks is really good. I like that sort of new way to do greenhouse in large country like US. Um, my immediate thought when I hear this concept was that grocery store chain, large national grocery store chain could do this, but is there do you know if they are interested in this kind of effort, or there any limitation or uh, restriction of this kind of effort? Do you know?
Well, yeah, we have Bonnie Estes from IFPA and Michael Yates from Walmart serve on our board, and we really appreciate their guidance on how to tap into the retail sector. Obviously, the retail world needs CEA, and it's hard for them to drive this type of collaboration with states and utilities and understanding the funding mechanisms of
Okay.
what could come to bear in terms of public investment, bringing together all the, you know, matching dollars, the figuring out the regulatory pathways to support this type of development. I think that's a lot to put on any one market actor. Um, you know, our goal is that as an organization that has a board that includes um, researchers, non like Dr. Kubota, um, World Wildlife Fund representation from Julia Kernick, for example. A lot of market actors that we have the right guidance from a number of market actors to make this type of thing happen. I don't think it happens by any one market actor.
I
I,
see.
I think that's impossible, really.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't have more content, so I'm happy to answer more questions, but
I had another question.
Yeah.
Hi, Derek. It's
Yeah,
Melanie
Melanie,
Yelton
please.
again.
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I've been thinking about is the size of parks like this. I mean, can you comment more on what the size could and should be? I think that, again, I come from Plenty, where it was always bigger and bigger and bigger. But now I'm much more fascinated by smaller, and how small can we go to still be effective and, local, transparent, not have to incur so much packing, shipping, infrastructure. So I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a high-tech, massive scale, right? That's serving only part of the market. We absolutely believe in the low and mid-tech market. We think it's critical. It's obviously the majority of the US production. It could be more efficient and it should be supported to be that. And we intend to support that market as well. Um, I should say that farm parks is not a concept that's necessarily tied to um, any one type of public landholder or even necessarily any type of production. We are billing this for high tech, but I think about churches and all of the land that they own and their constituency and their mission of supporting um, human capacity and development, food security, etc. Boy, if we could unlock that land in some way in meaningful regional production that is supporting small producers of color who are typically shut out from opportunities, don't have access to network education, finance, and we can bring those solutions to bear and really create interesting regional production models. We're all for that. And we're definitely going to be approaching the foundation sector to hopefully move in that direction as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, that's exactly what I've been approached by a few times in different churches or small communities, even in Northern California, that are asking about could we have a town greenhouse, a community greenhouse, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a one question in the chat. Ian, can you use microphone? You want to ask?
Yeah, of course. Hi.
Hi.
My name's Yuan. I am an urban agriculture specialist here with Ohio Extension. I just wanted to, in one of your previous slides, you talk about a few projects that you're looking for someone to contribute to.
Oh, yeah.
Can you elaborate on that? Like what kind of collaboration are you looking for?
Yeah, for our working groups, we have, they're intended to be multidisciplinary. So there's cross learnings from different subject matter expertise on one topic. But even that one topic could, cover a number of subtopics. So we usually bring together for these working groups producers, equipment suppliers, design and construction, utilities, governments at all levels. We believe that shared knowledge, especially in real time, right? Dealing with these issues that exist in the marketplace and there's no real solutions for, right? And researchers, right? So we bring, hopefully amplify the research that's being done and expedite it into the market more quickly and connect all these dots around these otherwise siloed expertise systems and then again write best practices guidance that is reviewed by everybody and also has external independent review. And we try to do this really quickly and effectively so that it can try to help resolve some issues that we know exist in the market. I hope that's a useful answer.
Yeah, thank you. What's the best way to sign up to participate?
Well, Elise, do you want to put something in the chat? Just reach out to us and I'm happy to be a point of contact, but I probably won't be the quickest response for you.
Yeah, I'll drop my
Yeah.
email in the chat, no problem.
Yeah,
Thank you.
sure.
All right. Well, I like to stop recording so that some people might feel more comfortable to ask questions or comments to you, Derek. So, well, thank you for now, the presentation, very much, Derek.
Thank you all very much.